Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you? How are you? I am so excited to be here. It is almost time for the Tupper Awards. Are you excited about the Tupper Awards? I hope so, because we're getting ready here at before for the party after the Tupper Party after. And so right now I'm going to make a quick appetizer that we can have to use a little bit later. So I wanted to share with you this really easy recipe that is going to elevate spinach artichoke dip for you and for your friends. So are you ready to learn how to make spinach artichoke dip that's going to blow your mind? I hope so. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be sharing with you this particular recipe. Sometimes you'll have spinach artichoke dip and you mix everything up together and then you put it in a pan and you heat it up. This particular recipe you can actually make ahead of time, and you can have it in the refrigerator for 3 to 5 days, and then you can actually package it and then warm it in the oven. We're going to be using our Micro Pro grill to do ours. I'm going to teach you the basic recipe for this so you can make it ahead of time. You could even put it into your vent and serve and have it in the freezer, so when you want something you can pull it out, defrost it, and then heat it up as well. So it's super easy, super fun to do. It uses a Mornay sauce. Now, a Mornay sauce is a bechamel sauce that has cheese in it. And a bechamel sauce is what they use for like this fancy mac and cheeses. It's a cream and butter and flour sauce that you make up, and then you add, for this case, cheese to it. And we're going to also add some spinach. We're going to add some artichoke hearts, and we're going to add some onion and some garlic. So get ready. So I have here 4 tablespoons of melted butter that I already did and melted up for us. Charlie's going to be popping the recipe on there for you. I have 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour that I'll mix in here as well. And then I'm going to stir that together. You can use any of your microwave dishes. This is one of my favorites. I'm hoping they bring it back soon. It is a microwave pitcher, but you can also use the stack cooker for this. It works really nicely for that as also. So I have got that mixed together, and then I'm going to add to it 1.5 cups of half and half. You could also mix all this up in your whip and mix, but for this purpose I don't want to mess up any of your dishes, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour it. So this is actually a 16 ounce, so that's actually 2 cups. So I'm kind of just eyeballing that it's about 1.5 cups there. Okay, so 1.5 cups. And we're going to mix all that together, and we're going to heat it up first before we put the cheese into it. All right. You could also do this in a pan, and you could put the onion and garlic into the butter and saute it first. But for this, because we're going to bake it, we're going to mix it all together. You could actually do this if you saute the onions and garlic first and then mix everything together and get it all melted and creamy just before, as you're mixing up the sauce. Then you could actually just serve it just like that and not pre-bake it. But we're going to pre-bake. We're going to bake ours afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to stick this in the microwave for about a minute to a minute and a half. A minute, I'm going to check it, stir it, and then we'll do it again. And I'm going to meanwhile get my other stuff that we need. So let me stick this in here and get it going. Forgot to get my Micro Pro grill out that we'll need. All right, so like I said, the next thing we're going to need is some cheese. So I have my cheese here to grate. You need about 1 cup of cheese. And normally you can use Parmesan and cheddar, but we were at the store and you could use mozzarella, you could use any other kind, and they had smoked Gruyere. And Charlie loves smoked cheeses, so we decided we would try it with the smoked Gruyere. So for our cheeses, we have some smoked Gruyere, and I'm going to grab one of our beautiful Wonderlier bowls. These are, of course, the ones that are on special right now. Don't you love these? I love this color as well. So we've got this. We'll put that in here. And I'm using our Grate Master for us to grate up that cheese. So first we're just going to do that grated Gruyere, and I'll just grate that in there. What I love about the Grate Master is how easy it is for for you to grate this cheese. Look how easy that is. I just barely did it. And it just turns, turns, turns. And then I have some Parmesan Reggiano cheese. Now this gives it that nice little salty, nutty flavor. So between the smoke and the nuttiness and then the creaminess of the Gruyere, it's going to have a nice flavor to it. So you want about a cup of grated cheese here. So we got that all grated up, and that'll be ready to add into our sauce that we're making, our Mornay sauce. Okay, so we got all of that in there. Yep, everything's good there. So I'll just set this aside. We got our cheese ready. And let me go check on our sauce real quick. Give it a stir. Oops, grab my whisk, give it a quick stir. Okay. So I never want to overdo it real fast at one time. So I did about 1:15 and then I stirred it, and I'm going to do another 2 minutes for our sauce. That'll just get it to thicken up before I add the rest of the ingredients. Now I'm going to go ahead and chop up the other things that are going to go with it. And this is what's really nice about this too, is that we can use our supersonic chopper. Supersonic chopper, of course, has the 3 blades. One pull is like 100 chops. It cuts up everything that you need, and it does it in a super easy way. If you are someone who hates to chop onions because you always cry, you are going to love, love, love this if you don't have one of these. What's great about this also is, of course, it is part of our starter kit for our new consultants. So if you are watching this, maybe one of your friends has shared this with you, you can see how easy this works. And so you just line it up, put it on, and just like that. It has a rubberized base, so it stays in place. It always is great to have it on the countertop. I usually just sit my hand on top, grab the little string that's like, I call it the lawnmower pull. So you just pull it like it's a lawnmower, and literally 5, 6 chops and you're done. See how easy it chops that onion all up in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and add into this. I put my garlic in here too. And one of the things I forgot to mention is when you are using fresh garlic, this is something I learned when I was in a cooking school in Rome. If you cut the garlic in half, there's usually a little piece right in the center. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's still white. You want to pull that out because that's what has that hot, bitter taste that sometimes garlic has. And if you want just that wonderful flavor of garlic without that bitter, hot taste, you pull that out. And so I did that for the garlic clove that I stuck in here. Now I'm going to add to this some chopped spinach. You can use fresh spinach. I did not. I used frozen. And the reason for that is because spinach has a lot of water in it. And if you're going to use fresh spinach, you're going to need to cook it first and squeeze it out and get all that excess water out anyway. So frozen works really well. Plus frozen is actually cheaper for this recipe. So you can buy the bags of chopped frozen spinach. You've got it already there. Just pour out what you need. So I've got my about 10 ounces worth of it. I went ahead and thawed it and rinsed it and got the excess water. I just kind of, I take it and I just squeeze it to get most of the water out and make sure that I got most of it all out here. Thought I had gotten most of it, still a little bit in there. And you don't have to use your hands, but I am for this. And it's me and Charlie, so he doesn't mind if I use my hands. Obviously, if you were going to make this for your friends, you may want to put some gloves on to do it. So I've got my spinach in there. And then I have a can of artichoke hearts, the quartered artichoke hearts. Now you'll know that when you buy these, a lot of times they have that little pull top on the thing like that. I never, ever, ever use that because it still gives you a sharp edge. Always use your top lifter can opener from Tupperware. You just click it on. Make sure it connects like this. You turn it around. It goes right over that little tab. And you go it until it clicks. And I usually then go another time around just to make sure. What happens is it breaks the glue away from the can so you can easily remove the top. It has a little beak on the end so you can just grab hold and lift it up. And then look at this. There are no sharp edges, so you don't have to worry about cutting yourself or hurting yourself at all. Now, one of the things also that a lot of people don't know is that when you buy the canned artichoke hearts, whether it's the whole ones, the quartered ones, I'm using the quartered, you do want to take them, drain them, and rinse them really, really well because They put citric acid in there to keep them, greenish, kind of, or keep the color good, keep them. But that has kind of an off taste to it. It's a little bit, kind of funky. So I always like to rinse them really well, and once again, drain them as also. So I did that. I put them, and actually your salad spinner works really good for that. You can just put all that stuff in there and give it a quick spin, and gets all the excess water out of it. So there we have our artichoke hearts in there with our onions, with our spinach. We're going to mix that together here. I'm just going to give it a pull. Sometimes you might want to do half of it at a time, but I'm always in a hurry, so I get it. And you just chop it up as fine as you want it. If you are making this recipe for someone who maybe is gluten intolerant and you need to make it a gluten-free, then you can use cornstarch instead of the flour for your Mornay sauce, okay? So that will be good. All right, so I think I've got that about done up. Let's see, yeah, look at that. Yummy. Isn't that going to be yummy in there? Okay, so we've got that ready. So let me go grab our sauce, and then we're going to mix it all together. We're going to put it in our Micro Pro Grill. We're going to stick it in the microwave right before it's time for us to eat and enjoy it later. Okay, so as I said, I did about a minute and 15 seconds, and then I put it back in there, stirred it, and then did it for 2 minutes. As you can see, it is pretty thick right here, which I actually wanted it a little bit thick because when I add the cheese and the rest of it, the cheese is going to melt into it. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Just like that. Make that down in there. Stir it around. Oh, that smokiness of that smoked Gruyere. You can smell that smoke. It smells so good. All right, so it's going to mix the cheese into it, so it's a nice thick sauce. Because the artichokes and spinach kind of are wet, that's why I wanted it a little bit thicker. And I wanted to mix that all together first. And now we're just going to add our veggies to it. Okay, set that aside. And pour our veggies in, our spinach, our onions, our artichoke hearts, and our garlic. Mix it all in there together. Okay, this is where it probably would have been nice to have had my stack cooker, because it would have been a little bit bigger, right? I could have used the 2-quart size instead of this 1-quart size. But lesson learned. I just love this container for like how easy it is to do things. All right, so I'm mixing it all in there together. Yummy, doesn't that look good? So like I said, if you went ahead and did your onions and your garlic with the butter before you make your sauce, then they'll already be cooked. And then when you add all this into it, it'll actually thicken up as you cook it a little bit more, and then you could just serve it just like that and start dipping into it. Ooh, that tastes so good. Once again, if you are gluten intolerant, like you can use cornstarch instead of flour, and then you could use tortilla chips. We're going to be using little crostinis. Charlie's going to take some French bread, cut it up, and toast those for us with a little garlic and olive oil to dip into it as well. And of course, when we are at the celebratory party for the Tupper Awards, we're going to be enjoying this. And so hopefully you can, what are you making? What are you making to enjoy during the Tupper Awards as they come up? Because I want to see what you're cooking. I want to hear what you're cooking. I want you to show some recipes to us as well. All right, so we're going to dump all of this down into here. Yummy. It just looks so good to me. All that extra sauce, put it in here. And so by doing it in the Micro Pro Grill, it's going to get a nice little browning on the top, kind of crusty, which I really love. And I don't have to heat up the kitchen. I don't have to heat up the oven to do it, because I can use the microwave for it as well. So there we have. I'm going to spread it out to the edges. I'm going to put it in the oven setting, which means that it doesn't touch the top. It just rests on the edge. Okay, and I'm spreading it out to the edges. I'm being very careful because I am using my wire whisk, which I use to mix this up, that it's not touching the bottom, because I realize I don't have my silicone whisk here. Okay, So there we go. So that's it. It's going to go in the microwave. We're going to enjoy this during the party, after party of the Tupper Awards, but hopefully you're going to have a great time. And we look forward to seeing you back here with us at 5:30 when it is time for us to announce who are the winners of our Tupper Awards. And of course, we'll be doing some quick broadcast prior as everybody's coming in to the studio for the awards. Not really, but coming into the auditorium, and we're going to have a lot of fun with that tonight. So see you guys in a little bit. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.